everyone, I am Dr. Ekta Bhushan, teaching anatomy and physiology of exercise at Indira Gandhi Institute of Physical Education and Sports Sciences, University of Delhi. I welcome you all to online lectures of CEC-UGC. In this series, we will discuss different topics associated with anatomy and physiology of exercise. But today in particular, we will discuss the topic, the nervous system. So, the nervous system is the controlling system of the body and is composed of nerve cells and organs. It is further classified into the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system comprises the brain and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system comprises the network of nerves connected to the brain and the spinal cord. So, the nerves fibers are two types, afferent fibers and efferent fibers. The afferent nerves fibers are responsible for the transmission of impulses from the tissues to the central nervous system, while the efferent nerve fibers are responsible for transmission of impulses from central nervous system to the concerned tissues or organs. Let us study the peripheral nervous system, its different types and diagrams and functions in detail. So, your nervous system affects every aspect of your health, including your thoughts, memories, learning and feelings, then movements such as balance and coordination, then senses including how your brain interpret what you see, hear, taste, touch and feel, then sleep, healing and aging. Your nervous system affects all these parts also: heartbeat and breathing patterns, a response to stressful situations, digestion, as well as how hungry and thirsty you feel, body processes such as puberty. Now, in today's lecture in particular, we are going to study about the peripheral nervous system, and the peripheral nervous system involves the parts of nervous system outside of the brain and the spinal cord. In the previous lecture, we have learned the central nervous system, which includes the brain and spinal cord, but in this particular system, we are going to study about all the nerves which include in the nervous system, and they are under the peripheral nervous system. So, as we discussed earlier also, that the nervous system is divided into two parts, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system, that is also called as CNS, includes the brain and the spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system includes all of the nerves that branch out from the brain and spinal cord and extend to other parts of the body, including muscles and organs. The primary role of the peripheral nervous system is to connect the central nervous system to the organs, limbs and skin. These nerves extend from the central nervous system to the outermost area of the body. The peripheral system allows the brain and spinal cord to receive and send information to other areas of the body, which allows us to react to stimuli in our environment. So, the peripheral nervous system's functions, following are the important functions of peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system connects the brain and the spinal cord to the rest of the body and the external environment. Then it regulates the internal homeostasis. It can regulate the strength of the muscle contraction. It controls the release of secretions from most exocrine glands. Now, Peripheral nervous system includes two types of nerve fibers. First is afferent nerve and the another one is efferent nerves. So afferent nerves fibers, these are responsible for transmitting messages from tissues and organs to the CNS, that is central nervous system, and the efferent nerve fibers, these are responsible for conveying messages from CNS to the corresponding peripheral organ. So one is receiving the messages and the another one is giving the messages. Now we can see the pie chart of the nervous system. We can see that first of all, the nervous system is divided into two parts, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. And then we can see the peripheral nervous system is further divided into two parts, that is autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Then the autonomic nervous system is divided into two parts, that is parasympathetic and sympathetic, and the somatic nervous system is divided into two parts, that is sensory and motor. And in this lecture we are going to study about this chart only. So the peripheral nervous system division into two parts, that is somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system, we can see the picture, you can see the sensory receptors are there. The skin is the sensory receptor. Whenever our skin is in touch with any fire or any danger, our the somatic nervous system alert our brain and alert our body part to resist themselves from that danger. So the somatic system is the part of the peripheral nervous system responsible for carrying sensory and motor information to and from the central nervous system. The somatic nervous system derives its name from the Greek word soma, which means body. So the somatic voluntary nervous system is responsible for providing sensory and motor intervention to skin, muscle and sensory organs. In other words, it carries sensations from the body, that is pain, touch, temperature, right, and the innervates skeleton muscles that are under conscious or voluntary control. In addition, the somatic nervous system is involved in spinal reflexes. An example being the withdrawal reflex. This helps you to instantly pull away your hand when touching a hot object or any danger. So the somatic system is responsible for transmitting sensory informations as well as for voluntary movements. These systems contains two major types of neurons. The one is motor neurons, also called efferent neurons. We have just learned the efferent nerves. So motor neurons carrying information from the brain and the spinal cord to muscle fibers throughout the body. These motor neurons allow us to take physical actions in response to stimuli in the environment. Now, sensory neurons, also called afferent neurons. These are the receptors ones. So sensory neurons carry information from the nerves to the central nervous system. It is these sensory neurons that allow us to take in sensory information and send it to the brain and spinal cord. Now, we can see the different types of neurons. In the previous lecture, we have learned about the basic structure of neuron, and here we can see the different types of neurons, and we can see that the first one is the motor neuron, then sensory neurons, because they have both the recepting part also and the giving part also, and then the next one, the interneurons. So the main function of the somatic nervous system is to transfer impulses from CNS to the skeleton muscles. The nerves involved is the cranial nerve are 12 pair and they emerge from the brain. Some of the examples of cranial nerve are optic and olfactory. Optic means eyesight one, the olfactory one, the hearing one. Then spinal nerve have their point of emergence as the spinal cord. There are 31 pairs of spinal nerves. They emerge from the spinal cord into the dorsal and the ventral roots. At the junction of these two roots, the sensory fibers continue into the dorsal root and the motor fibers into the ventral root. Now, we will study about the second part of the peripheral system, which is the autonomic nervous system. This is why we called it autonomic, because it is automatic nervous system. This is involuntary. So, last but not the least, we have reached the autonomic division of the peripheral nervous system, that is ANS. It is involuntary in nature, meaning that we have no conscious control over it. The ANS is responsible for providing sensory and motor intervention to smooth muscles, blood vessels, glands, and internal organs. As such, it provides a coordinated regulation of visceral and glandular functions, playing a role in maintaining homeostasis. The autonomic nerves are also peripheral in nature, so the general structure of the peripheral nerve discussed earlier still applies. However, there is one caveat: all autonomic nervous synapse with the sympathetic or parasympathetic ganglion. The portion of the nerve before the ganglion is referred to the preganglionic and carries the impulse towards the cluster of cell bodies. The portion located from the ganglion onward is called postganglionic and carries the impulse away from the cell body. So the ANS has three major branches: sympathetic, parasympathetic, and enteric. The sympathetic prepares the body for dealing with the periods of increased physical activities through actions such as regulating blood vessels, often but not always vasoconstriction, dilating the pupil is in the eye, the black one, then increasing heart rate and blood pressure and decreasing the peristalsis. So the parasympathetic division helps the body to conserve energy. It has rest and digest, feeding and breathing functions. It is carried out by actions and slow the cardiovascular system, stimulates glands secretion and increase peristalsis. The PNS is also involved in the sexual arousal and lacrimination, that is crying. So the autonomic nervous system relays impulses from the central nervous system to the involuntary organs and the smooth muscles of the body. It is divided into two parts. One is the sympathetic nervous system and another one is the parasympathetic one. So the sympathetic nervous system consists of nerves arising from the spinal cord between the neck and waist region. It prepares the body for violent actions against abnormal conditions and is generally stimulated by adrenaline. The next one is the parasympathetic nervous system is located interior in the head and neck and posterior in the sacral region. It is mainly involved in re-establishment of normal conditions when violent and action is over. So in this picture is very important. Here we can see the different parts, the different functioning of the parasympathetic nerves and sympathetic nerves. The parasympathetic nerves, we call them rest and digest, and the sympathetic nerves, we call them fight or flight. So the parasympathetic nerves contract the pupil in the eyes, stimulus the saliva, slow heartbeat, constrict airways, stimulates activities of stomach, inhibits release of glucose stimulus or gallbladder, stimulate activities of the intestines and contract bladder. On the other hand, the sympathetic nervous system, it is dilate the pupil, inhibit saliva, increase heartbeat, relax airway, inhibit activities of stomach or stimulate release of glucose, inhibit gallbladder, inhibit activities of the intestine and relax the bladder. The one is parasympathetic is contracting everything and sympathetic is relaxing everything most of the time. So once again we will discuss the whole pie chart of the nervous system. If we'll understand this chart, make sure I am telling you, you will definitely understand the whole nervous system in a nutshell. So once again, nervous system is divided into two parts. One is the central nervous system, the another one is the peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system bodies masters control, and the peripheral nervous system bodies link the outside world. The central nervous system is divided into again three parts. The first is spinal cord, brain, the spinal cord, then the brain stem, that is we also call that the medulla oblongata, and the brain, which involve the different parts which we have discussed also. And then the peripheral nervous system is further divided into autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. We have learned this system in this lecture in very detail. And then the autonomic nervous system is divided into sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Somatic nervous system is also divided into motor and sensory nerves. So the nervous systems have some disorders also. So many infections, cancers and autoimmune diseases like diabetes, lupus and rheumatoid arthritis can cause nervous system problems. Diabetes can lead to diabetic neuropathy, causing the tingling and pain in the legs and feet. A condition called multiple sclerosis attacks the myelin around the nerves in the CNS. Then stroke. A stroke happens when one of the brain's blood vessels become blocked or suddenly burst without enough blood. Part of the brain dies, then it can't send messages via nerves. A stroke can cause nerve damage ranging from mild to severe. Then accidental injury. nerves can be crushed, stretched or cut into in an accident. Car crashes and falls are common injuries that can damage the nerve anywhere in your body. Then pressure, if a nerve is pinched or compressed, it can't get enough blood to its job. So nerves can be pinched or trapped for many reasons, such as overuse, as in carpal tunnel syndrome, a tumor or structural problem like sciatica. Then toxic substances, chemotherapy, medicines, illegal drugs, excessive alcohol and poisonous substances can cause peripheral neuropathy or nerve damage. People with kidney disease are more likely to develop nerve damage because their kidneys have a hard time filtering out toxins. Then aging process also, as you get older, your neuron signals may not travel as fast as they used to do. So you may feel weaker and your reflexes may slow down. Some people lose sensation in their fingers, toes or other parts of their body. So how we can protect so you can protect your nervous system by engaging in healthy lifestyle practice like exercising regularly, drink water and eating a balanced diet. Maintaining a regular sleep schedule is also essential to preserve the full function of the nervous system. Additionally, mindfulness and relaxation techniques such as meditation or yoga can help to relax muscles and ease stress on the nervous system. So, we have come to the conclusion. The peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves that branch out from the brain and spinal cord. These nerves form the communication network between the CNS and the body parts. The peripheral nervous system is further subdivided into the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. The somatic nervous system consists of nerves that go to the skin and the muscles, and it involves in the conscious activities. The autonomic nervous system consists of nerves that connects the CNS to the visceral organs such as heart, stomach and intestine. It mediates unconscious activities. I hope you understood the nervous system, in particular peripheral nervous system, in that autonomic and sympathetic system and their functions. That's all for today. See you next time. Thank you very much.